Salve, salve galerinha! E chegamos aqui em FASTPAY WILDCATS versus PSG. E é um jogo terrível porque a gente tem que torcer pros turcos, é isso. Se a gente torce pros turcos, a gente tem mais chance depois de ir adiante, entende? Que aí a gente volta a ter a decisão na nossa mão. Mas é perigoso. É muito difícil. O PSG tá jogando um jogo muito controlado. O único jogo que a PSG perdeu foi exatamente para Mad Lions e foi um jogo muito descontrolado. Vamos deixar bem claro aqui, galera. Se você ainda não tá inscrito nesse canal, se inscreve agora, rapaz. Se inscreve agora, senão eu vou ficar triste, é isso. Cara, o Wildcats não tem por que tirar Morgana aqui, hein? A não ser que eles não tenham se adaptado também. E a gente vai descobrir isso agora.
Kind of light speed level gameplay we saw in the first half of the round robin for this group. They are slowing things down a little bit. It does feel like they know that they need to, get through these games, clutch these wins out, and make sure they get out into the rumble stage. So it does feel like they may be playing a little bit safer than we might expect.
Tiraram Morgana. Que merda, cara. Mais um jogo na 11.6. Caralho. Sabe o que eu queria muito ver? Alguém ser muito abusado. Ban o Dir agora e pegar um Yasuo no mid, tá ligado? Imagina, Yasuo e Diana. Putz, seria muito irado. Ele sempre tá fazendo esse bait aí.
And I think it is going to be Kai'Sa, indeed it will. I like this first pick here out of Wildcats, especially given Holy Phoenix's performance on it.
Jinx e Thresh. Não, Jinx e Thresh não, porque o Thresh tá fechado. Então eles não vão poder pegar os campeões Thresh dependent, por assim dizer.
Although we have seen again Aphelios as recently as last game from Doggo, we do have maybe some junglers here that you want to pick up, given that quite a few have been banned already. I think you've mentioned this off air, but I'll say it for you now. Seen a lot of jungle plus bottom lane, right? In phase 1, it's been kind of the typical draft strategy for just about every team, unless you really have some flexes working. So expecting, maybe the other AD, maybe a support that you're trying to deny away here for Kaiwing. But Volibear is the first pick here for PSG.
I'm interested to see where they'll go with AD, because Doggo seems much more comfortable on the Aphelios, the Jinx, but without the Thresh, I feel like making one of those work is a bit
Eu acho que esse campeão não vai ser bom. Vai pegar Tristana de novo.
He can, then maybe on the opposite side, the Wildcats will try to take away something like the Nautilus. Goes very well with the Kai'Sa. You also have ways to disrupt that rocket jump as well.
They could have taken it there also for PSG if they wanted it, but
Cara, tem Alistar open, velho.
Again, can be flexed around, so I think as a pick you want to secure a little bit.
E o Kaiwing tem a Leona dele open também.
Opponents have already shown their bot laner. So we'll see what Wildcats answer back with there. It looks like Olaf is going to be the next in line here for Ferret. But we'll have to see. Yeah, it is going to be Olaf.
And honestly, I would have liked to see Nautilus here, but instead going to go back towards that Orianna. I think it makes a lot of sense with how Saren played on it earlier. Also just works well with the Olaf, right? Another champion that you can give a shield to, is a bit of a ball delivery system in a sense. And now we're going to see, do PSG answer mid here? Because the support pool is actually still wide open if you didn't want to and you wanted to go, hey, I'll just counter pick mid now. I'll take support on
beleza, era de se esperar essa Leona. E agora eu prevejo o ban de Nautilus e Alistar. Ou Rell e Alistar? Eu acho que Rell e Alistar, hein?
Not going to counter pick Maple, confident in his champion pool, which is, I think, a well-placed confidence on their side, as we'll see what happens here in phase number 2 of bans. Definitely interesting to see Orianna drafted so early, but I think given how Saren played in it earlier today, it makes sense to just give him that comfort, especially up against an opponent like Maple. Alistar is going to be the first phase 2 ban here.
Yeah, now we're going to start seeing Wildcats ban out mid laners and PSG keep banning out supports. I do like that you hit on the Orianna because, right, blind picking Orianna is fine. There's really nothing that decimates Orianna in that mid lane matchup. Typically, people just handshake it, pick the victor, which sure, I think does have a bit more pressure against Orianna in the laning phase. You also do scale up quite well, but again, it's a handshake.
Eu achei meio
too
burro.
But on the opposite end, Wildcats are actually respecting more of the play.
Eles não iam pegar o Sylas, cara. Você só tem ult merda pra roubar até o momento.
obscenely good on that champion. I think even though Silas feels like he maybe doesn't fit into this
Real Alistar, era de se esperar.
the opposite be true.
Nautilus ficou
practically
open.
when they've been playing, so Rel going to be the other ban there, so 2 supports taken away from Farfetch. Zoe was the other call out I was going to make for Maple. Already played this matchup actually in his last game just moments ago. Doggo hovering the cat is wonderful, but I don't think that's going to be what is selected here. The other thing like Syndra.
Isso era uma coisa que eu queria muito ver, velho. Eu queria muito ver o Azir, cara.
Maple has to have at least one game on Azir this tournament.
And Maple's Azir is very interesting because I was talking to Clement about this as well, and he says, you know, Maple plays these control mages a lot more like assassins. He's going to look to swoop and boop that backline. He's always going to go in.
Certainly is, and that was evident in their final as well. We'll see how aggressive Maple wants to get here, but it is going to be now out for Starscreen. Taking away from Hanabi, I really like. Also just keeping the comp very solid. They know they're going to be up against some 5v5 action at some point here, so I think Wildcats going to lean more on wanting to play with the speed that PSG set in the last game they've shown and not play too aggressively. And Nautilus actually going all the way to 5th feels pretty good on the Wildcat side. That's the support you typically wouldn't expect to get.
Meu Deus.
Maybe pre-counterpicked by them already, and I can't believe I talked about it earlier. I don't think we're going to get it, but the one champion we haven't seen that I would like to see is Yasuo, and this isn't our counterpick, so if there was ever a time for a Hanabi, it is going to be now, but I don't think they're going to play.
Meu
I
Deus.
just got a preface for all the viewers. Pastry was talking about this literally 5 minutes ago with me that he wants to see this matchup, but we are going to get the Jace. I do think the Jace works well here, especially when you're going up against the Olaf, right? Trying to throw out some more of that
vamos lá.
playing from a range, bait out the Ragnarok to where then maybe Kaiwin can go and look for that engage.
All right, well, I guess, you know, Kiana, LeBlanc, Zed, that's been enough.
We're spoiled, Pastry. We're spoiled.
Certainly are. It's going to be Jason Zed for Hanabi. Feels practiced on already, right? Has calibrated the shock blasts, having played it, again, literally last game. So PSG looking for win number 4 here for the Wildcats. It's going to have to be a long run throughout the day, but they could, of course,
Cara, vamos lá. Bot lane, a pressão é aquela coisinha de Tristana versus Kai'Sa, vai depender muito do matchup do suporte. Mid, a pressão early game é totalmente do Azir, e depois vai ficar mais even. A partir do primeiro item da Orianna, eu ia chamar ela de Kiana, olha que legal. A jungle é aquilo, o Olaf dá mais dano, mas o Volibear tem mais CC, ele tem mais utilidade, digamos assim, ele é um ganker mais efetivo. E na top lane, elas por elas, o gank, a jogada é mais pro Jace. E sendo bem sincero, como o Jace tá combinado com o Volibear, eles têm o CC, eles têm o follow-up. Então eles podem dar o CC com o Volibear e tancar com ele enquanto o Jace distribui dano, dá dano. Pra mim, o Volibear vai jogar... cara, o Volibear vai jogar no top e no bot. O mid eles vão deixar solto, vão deixar... No máximo ele vai falar pra counterar um gank ou algo do tipo, mas os dois campeões não tem setup pra um gank. Dependeria muito de erros de posicionamento dos dois mid laners para um gank acontecer nessa lane, sabe?
And just for context, for people who don't know, about Maple this split, he played 12 games of Azir in the PCS. His next most played was at 2. So he was very much favoring this Azir pick. Gonna be nice to see him back on it. And I think these compositions are very interesting because you look at them both and you're like, okay, strong 5v5s on both sides, but they're very different. Because when you look at PSG, it's a lot about keeping the enemy at arm's length. You have very good zone control. Again, there's like a poke aspect there, but to me, it's about keeping PSG away. You're going to do very well contesting over mid-wave with the Azir soldiers as well as the accelerated shock blast from Jace, to where for the Wildcats, it's all about being able to get onto PSG. If they can get onto PSG, they will be in a good place. They do have the burst. They do have the damage to take these fights.
Opa! Não, late invade da Wildcats. Interessante, beleza. E não foi visto, hein? Isso foi bem jogado. E o que eles estão fazendo com isso? Eles estão isolando a bot lane. Eles estão isolando o Doggo e o Kaiwing de maneira que vai ficar sem poder ter ajuda. da... sem poder ter ajuda do River. Oh, fuck. Só que agora ele demorou demais. E por ele ter demorado demais, acabou de acabar o jogo da Wildcats. É isso. É isso. É isso. Cara...
Unfortunately, that invade goes from looking good to horrible for Wildcats to kick off this game. Maybe, you know, maybe it's thought out for Rivers. Like, you know what? I don't need to get the blue buff. You can do the blue buff for me. Although you do.
E o River, ele fez certo aqui de não avançar porque a bot lane adversária pegou pressão. Caralho. Caralho.
Finish the rest of the camps after starting on red and getting a very quick first blood. Very, very speedy roam to mid lane though, as Maple didn't even need to flash that one. Farfetch so did as he tried to get the lockdown onto Maple.
I really did like the play coming out from Farfetch there. Sure, it didn't work out. You were the one who ended up losing out, but again, they come into this game plan. You can see they wanted to play around Holy Phoenix once again by splitting the map. Again, it means Doggo and Kaiwin can't play aggressively. And then realizing, hey, our jungler went down, we're going to try to turn that pressure mid. As we see the replay, we know what went down. PSG knew that he was here, choking him out on both sides.
O que fudeu eles completamente foi aquela ward ali no Rio, cara. Quando eles viram a bot lane vindo dali, foi insta.
And indeed, that's what happened. That's the first blood. Still there for PSG, up actually 600 gold, which is nice for the early game, given that we're 3.5 minutes into this game. River also going to go.
E eles têm pressão do mid do top, então é muito suave para eles jogarem esse jogo agora.
Scuttle Crabs for Olaf here feels pretty bad for Ferret, who's going to be a bit behind after getting killed so early.
Yeah, this is going to be a really rough game for him, especially when we think about that. He needs to be the one to really get Wildcats' early game going, right? We have an Orianna in the mid lane, and Saren did show that no matter who is pressure, he is willing to roam and make plays on the map, but still, I don't feel like it's that easy, and especially once you're up against someone with the 10-year...
Opa, guys, foi mal, tive problema aqui, porque... Como vocês bem sabem pelos vídeos anteriores, as pessoas não me ligam a não ser que eu esteja gravando, né? Impressionante. Parece que meu telefone ele não funciona a não ser que eu esteja em meio de gravação. Aí todo mundo liga, todo mundo lembra do Bruno e todo mundo quer ligar para o Brunão. Então vamos lá.
Olaf, as we've talked about a few times now, Starscreen in the top side, trying to keep Hanabi at bay as Ferret going for the revisit here, but a very different situation. 2 buffs and level 4 feels a lot better here than the initial invade, as Doggo is going to very respectfully rocket jump out, as they did see that Olaf was down there.
And it seems like Wildcats bot lane is going to look for the reset now as they instantly started shoving in. Saren looking for the aggressive trades. Saren did also pick up the tier, so is going to have more sustain in this lane, going to be able to throw out a lot more of those combos, which is going to feel nice. Kind of surviving this laning phase, but you know, Azir Orianna, Azir will be able to get a bit of pressure. He also did take Comet, so, you know, an aggressive trading rune as compared to Phase Rush coming out from Saren, but it's not going to mean all that much.
Yeah, smart stuff for Saren to trade there after TPing back in, but Maple just gets a couple trades back and knows that he's TPing back anyway. So really just a trade of Summoners was expected there. If you're... Fun fact, in those kind of situations, always look to see how close they are to level 6, because if Saren was close to getting Shockwave, that's a very different situation, maybe trying to pressure Maple, but too early for that, actually was...
De novo, eles vão repetir o gank no mid.
We're going to be A-OK, as 6 is almost on the table, so I'll conveniently parlay into that one, as there's a Shockwave, and the hook is going to miss as Maple finds a beautiful flash.
That flash was so clean, instantly on point when the animation starts to come out, and I'm glad that Wildcats are showing us this play, because this is one of the dynamics of this mid lane matchup, I'm sorry, is the fact that once you hit level 6 and these ultimates come online, both Orianna and Azir do have playmaking ultimates and can set up for these very aggressive dueling junglers, as well as supports to start finding these ganks in mid lane.
And while for Orianna, it's really low commitment, right? You just put the ball near them and hit R, and typically you don't need the ultimate much earlier, so you can use it in lane for that kind of harassment, just a bit of pressure. Maple needs to commit way more, which he's willing to do. Not every Azir player will be quite as liberal with the usage of the ulti, but Maple's certainly not afraid to get in there and try and ult in somebody, as Doggo was getting some pressure onto Holy Phoenix, but nothing big coming of that particular 2v2, as River going to go ahead in the river and start the Drake.
And so far, we have had a bit more aggression from PSG than we did last game. Again, hasn't turned into too many kills, but still we've been
Cara, isso tudo ainda é reflexo daquele invade nível 1, tá? Isso ainda é tudo reflexo daquele invade, tá? O River ia jogar em volta do mid top, mid top, mid top. Só que, né?
X-Flash over the wall, the 3-3 is going to begin as FASTPAY maybe a little too keen. Olaf around the side is going to get in there, but River already got the first kill. It is going to be a trade back though, and gold is going in the right places. Holy Phoenix collects some, but now the turn hit for Cowing, flashes in, gets the stun. Doggo knows that the kills are ready to go. Cowing going to find the stun. That's going to be the kill with the explosion shot, but can he live through the rest of it? It's going to be the big one. Holy Phoenix with the ulti is Ferret. It's going to go down now. The regen.
E é isso.
PSG are going to get all three.
Really nice play
Acabou o
coming out
jogo.
from PSG's bot lane. I'm honestly surprised they were able to turn that one around. Initially, when you're trading jungle for support, you'd feel good about that trade as the Wildcats, but the Ragnarok times out. Kaiwing knows, hey, we can go and we have the base damages to outplay this, and Pastry keeps going.
All right, FASTPAY back in there. We're going to try and make it happen. Shockwave is good, finds Maple, but Maple... No
caralho, hein? Ah, não, pelo amor de Deus. Mas olha a quantidade de recurso.
But still worth it for them to pick up that kill. Saren being a standout so far in this day. And again, overall, I feel like Farfetch in this game as well is putting up a better performance than we've seen in MSI thus far. So we see Wildcats now have pressure in the mid lane. They have their support up towards top side. This should be a relatively free Herald for them. But I guess they don't feel like it with the fact that Maple's already back up. But I feel like you did have tempo on the map, but Orianna wanting to go for that reset, no mana actually is what I missed. So Wildcats going to have to back off.
Yeah, unfortunate there, but out of resources, no TP to get back quickly, so it is just going to be PSG Talon taking control of this side of the map. Top side, Farfetch has snuck in. He's been everywhere. Hanabi didn't expect this one. Nautilus in your lane before he's level 6. Gonna be forced to flash there for Hanabi.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane coming out from Farfetch. I guess he doesn't necessarily need to be in bot lane right now, though we do see Holy Phoenix is paying a bit of respect. All of PSG is top side as well, other than their AD carry, so not too much gonna happen. They did get a summoner spell out from Hanabi. Holy Phoenix can't be dove here.
I mean, Doggo agrees with you, but he wish he didn't, you know? He wants to go in for that play, but instead it's just going to dissolve some of their pressure. So Holy Phoenix is A-OK for now. Thankfully, as we can see on the mini-map, there is no one coming to this lane, so Holy Phoenix is safe, but PSG do seem to be ramping up the pressure. Almost feels like they're like temperature checking their opponents, and given that Wildcats are playing a little bit faster, I feel like PSG are rising to meet them, whereas in the last game against Pain were playing much more slow, much more solid, and PSG were happy to take that route as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, right? Because PSG in the last game, it's like, oh, Pain just want to play out these extended laning phase. Well, we feel like we're the better laning team. We're just going to go for that, compared to now where it's like, hey, the analyst just highlighted Wildcats just love to see hero, kill hero, as that's what they're going to do right now.
Doggo, he's fine. Tristan, a very good champion in this kind of situation. Able to rocket jump out very early. Again, cooldown's pretty long, but not really much sort of a dive here. Just going to be the Rift Herald over to River. Looks like top lane tower is going to be the obvious target. And of course, I shouldn't have said anything because Doggo is getting run around in through his jungle now. As the Hex Flash over the wall is going to provide... Oh, no.
No,
he tried to line up the hook and the mouse moved a little too early before he could make it over the wall. Unfortunate little mechanical misstep there for Farfetch, but Doggo's still going to get zoned out and Ferret's still going to get the blue buff, so you know what? Let's call it worth at the end of the day.
You know what? Well, it's a small win, and
Check it off.
In LPL, we take those, as Munchable says, so, you know...
Nossa, mãe do céu, cara. Perderam muito tempo nessa brincadeira.
I'm really interested to see once we start getting to a place where Mythics come out. Hanabi...
Sunscreen a little low, kicks him back there with the Gnar ulti, now transforms back. Hanabi a little low on mana, so I think follow through too heavily on any sort of trade. And of course, it's, you know, TP battles there, grasp over as Maple. You have to be careful. Every time Maple's Azir's on screen, he has his ulti. You never know when he might be going in, but it's just a 1v1. So going to be A-OK. Just again, happy to farm things out as PSG in no rush to push the issue in these games. Like you said, they feel like they're the better team. They feel like they're the better laners. They're happy to kind of play out the game on even footing, knowing that they'll be better, even if the game is even at 20 minutes.
Especially with the fact that Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds, and PSG have tempo advantage on the map. Their bot and top laners
A PSG, por conta da pressão, ela tá conseguindo movimentar bem o mapa, cara. Então eles não estão conseguindo counterar nada.
Doggo already has his Kraken Slayer as well.
A Wildcats, ela tipo assim, ela pega uma kill aqui, uma kill ali, mas não traduz em nada, sabe? Não vem resultado. E agora vai ser Infernal ou o
PSG already with control here. River actually gonna wander down first. That might be a dive on the cards
como se
here.
diz?
Herald.
Ah, tá, a torre caiu,
Herald
bot.
good one. Get some gold to Doggo.
É, o dragão é deles. O dragão é completamente deles, só não fazem se não quiserem. E a gente vai saber se vai ser uma das nuvens ou Infernal. Se for Infernal, qualquer um dos times que pegar vai ser monstruoso. Você tem de um lado Kai'Sa e Orianna, do outro lado você tem Azir, Jace e Tristana. Os três dão, todos esses campeões dão muito dano no mão disso. O Nar já é meio Foi um bom entendimento de jogo do Hanabi também. Isso daqui foi o que faltou pro robô naquele jogo, sabe? Saber que você tá pressionando de um lado, você vai sofrer pressão do outro. Isso daí funciona como uma gangorra esse poder, sabe? Um lado abaixa, o outro sobe. É, esse dragão é menos importante para os dois times, sendo bem sincero.
Yeah, I like weak side specialist. The fun thing for me is that Hanabi is not playing typical weak side champions, which kind of adds a little bit of extra flair. I think Nas a pretty good weak side champion, but like Jace and GP, I guess GP is actually, but Jace, depending on you know, how the team plays, not always thought of that way. Certainly though, in Hanabi's hands, he's going to be left to his own devices, and with the Eclipse already done, he's feeling pretty good as Doggo. Swap into the top lane. Because there are towers to be taken. They already got the bottom side, now time to work on more plates, because if Doggo wants anything this game, it is more gold.
And I like what PSG are doing with this. They're getting control of topside river, so they're going to try to either zone off or threaten any dives on the star screen, but I feel like they should be able to pick up that turret relatively for free. We see that they also know what Wildcats are doing on the opposite side of the map, so Hanabi kind of hovering in and out of his jungle, trying to take a peek if anyone is there. I feel like for the state of the game right now, both teams are making the right decision, just looking to trade sides of the map.
For sure. PSG happy with the lead they have, but again, just going to be a trade back and forth. They're up, you know, almost 3,000 gold. In fact, going to be over that as Doggo's going to finish off the tower. He's actually going to get all the plates as well. Are you serious? That feels so good for Doggo, man. Just keeps getting funneled gold. Also getting solo XP in this situation, which is like the absolute, like, crispy, efficient maximization for a champion like Tristana, who needs everything they can get as far as scaling goes, including some of those levels for the passive.
Cara, o Nar tem que sair daí urgente, o Nar tem que sair daí urgente. Ele tem que sair daí muito urgente. Meu Deus, ele não saiu.
As they do finally get the tower down in bottom side, but trouble is brewing here in the 1v3 for Starscreen.
He's about to go Mega though, so I like that it looks like PSG
eles não vão engajar.
I don't know if they should go for this because he also has flash available. It feels like it would be way too awkward.
Oh, the Cloud Rift coming in clutch as Doggo zooms out of there. Barrett was ready for chase, but does not happen there. Trist again with flash and rocket jump up, pretty safe champion.
I was gonna say Pastry, he was never in harm's way. He knew exactly what he was doing in that situation. And talking about, you know, knowing exactly what you're doing, it's kind of scary to see that all of PSG already have their mythics, you know, barring support, already making their way towards their second items, to where we're finally starting to see mythics come out on the side of Wildcats, thank God, but still, it feels like, especially in that top and jungle role, we are lacking a lot of power.
Yeah,
Cara, a Tristana tá muito na frente, cara. A Tristana tá muito na frente.
He's level 10.
Ah, caralho.
To be fair, but feeling good for Doggo here, given all the gold he's been funneled. Not even ahead in CS, actually, even between the two ADs, but of course, the kind of bottom lane outplay they got when that gank happened, when that Doggo picked up that kill and those assists. Feeling like it's a pretty good time right now for PSG Talon, especially given their game plan. They'll be chilling out. I think Wildcats are looking to make it happen. Yeah, as expected, Farfetch looking for the hook. Unfortunately, doesn't find it and gets a sad B and a thumbs up in return.
My problem with the state of the game for Wildcats right now is I don't really know what kind of play they can look for, right? Because they don't have side pressure. We didn't see Jace get set super far behind this time around. He will be able to push Gnar in the side lanes. You can group up as a 5-man unit and maybe try to find a hook onto someone, but realistically, again, at this point in the game, with this kind of gold lead, I feel like PSG would just win in the straight-up 5v5, so
caraca, mano.
are pretty much play to the opposite.
Sabe quando você sente a tensão no jogo? Que você sente que tá num momento de tensão e que tá prestes a estourar? Se o Starscreen encaixar uma ult boa, Isso pode mudar completamente o jogo. Boa, tiraram o Maple. Falta tirar o Doggo. Se eles não tirarem o Doggo, acabou. É, o Doggo tirou o Farfetch ainda.
Ulti used for Starscreen as well, so no re-engage really here with all the ultimates down on either side. But Wildcats are just going to force them out here, and the teams are going to maybe reset for this objective. As PSG going to back away after the 1-for-1 trade.
Pastry, I didn't know what I was talking about. The plan was right in front of our faces the whole time. Just hook Maple. It's as simple as that. As Starscreen actually going to get chunked out quite a bit by Doggo. We're seeing the power of that 2-item Tristan already, but you know, well played by Wildcats. Those are the kinds of picks they need. Again, I didn't theoretically think they should be able to find them in these 5v5 situations, but if you are decisive enough to just flash in like Farfetch did,
e acabou sendo muito bom pra Wildcats esse tempinho que eles ganharam, que vão pegar esse arauto. Tá difícil de falar as palavras. Essa janela criada pelo erro de posicionamento do Maple. Erro de posicionamento brutal, né? Porque ele deu um flash de testa na parede. Nossa. Eles sabem que a Kai'Sa não tem ult também, eles sabem que mesmo que eles deem um stun nele, não vai ter follow-up, além dela não ter ult, ela tá no top, então ela não tinha muito o que fazer ali.
And of course, Holy Phoenix is continuing to getting funneled whatever gold is available on the map. He is just farming up a storm right now.
That's one thing, right, is the Holy Phoenix and Saren win condition will always be there. Like, Wildcats' composition actually does have quite a good wombo combo, right? If they can find the Mega Gnar, the Orianna Shockwaves there, Holy Phoenix can dish out all the damage. There's definitely tools for them to take team fights, right? Even though on paper it does look like PSG's comp does have more options and more ways to like zone and play out team fights, it's definitely not unwinnable for the side of Wildcats.
Olha o flash errado.
Hits the dredge line because Maple failed a flash.
Se ele acerta esse flash, o jogo seria completamente diferente, tá? Ele teria jogado a âncora na parede e teria morrido sozinho.
Both teams are going to posture in front of each other. I think it does make a bit of sense. Hanabi, of course, having the poke he can throw out.
Outra diferença é que o Maple ele é dano contínuo, então ele precisa ficar vivo para dar dano. A Orianna, se ela ultou e deu o W, ela já pode, entre aspas, ela pode morrer, sabe? Não é que ela pode, poder ela não pode, né? Mas é menos prejudicial.
They are, you know, against a very fast Dragon Soul point as well. It is Cloud Soul, but still a soul nonetheless. The siege right now, though, is happening in mid lane, as that objectively is going to be up in a couple of minutes, so not something to concern yourselves with right now. But it does feel like Wildcats is kind of confined to this one little area. PSG really the ones dictating this game right now and feeling very comfortable given the pace they have chosen for this. Doggo, again, just getting out of harm's way, not getting too aggressive. And PSG, when they find the counter engage, will be happy to pull the trigger, because I think at this point they've realized that Wildcats are going to be the ones to make the first move.
Yeah, and you can see Wildcats are trying to do that right now. They actually have the Rift Herald, so it seems like they were trying to find a way where they can set up a play for that. Also letting Starscreen build up his Rage Bar. It is almost there, but kind of surprising neither team is looking.
Péssimo momento, hein?
Boa
jogada da Wildcats. Kaiwing escolheu muito mal o momento. O Starscreen tava pegando mega, velho. What the fuck?
I mean, what an angle coming out from Kaiwing, but at the same time, goes down, kind of ran it a bit, but still he did get summoners out from Holy Phoenix, so you now have a window where you can punish, but Wildcats get a pick. They get mid lane turret, they're going to be able to recall and get back on the map faster, have tempo advantage, start setting up vision around the next Drake. Like, this was just a really nice sequence of events by Wildcats to punish the side of PSG.
Yeah, you know, engaged supports, you know, typically all-in, right? Sometimes I think they're even referred to as all-in supports. I would say Leona is the most all-in of all of the engaged supports, and Kaiwing demonstrating the flip side of that play there, finding, again, a great-looking pick, but as soon as Holy Phoenix got away, Leona is now in the middle of the enemy team with your team not being able to chase after you. So instead, it's going to be blue buff over to Saren, who is quietly farming things up, has kept the farm very even up against Maple, who again is also scaling, so there is going to be some similarities there as far as what they can do in the mid to late game, but the way they do it, of course, is different. Doggo, though,
foi, beleza.
Everywhere on this map is, despite not having the flash, going to have the team behind him and happily take the final outer tower off of Wildcats' Rift.
I also love how we're once again defaulting to a battle of AD carries, right? Holy Phoenix is the one getting all the gold on their side. Doggo got set up on the side of PSG. And sure, there's room for other players to step up. We've already talked about Hanabi. We've talked about Maple. I like that Saren as well. He went for the Loon Zeko, so showing he's going for a lot more bursting out these squishy carries from the side of PSG. As PSG, for some reason, hitting...
Cara, PSG agora é uma janela boa pra eles lutarem, porque o Nar tá sem mega, tá relativamente suave.
But PSG at least, you know, making him think about it. They've got a massive amount of Baron damage for what it's worth, and they've got the front line to make it happen as well. So Wildcats do have to respect the potential of a very quick Baron take. But for now, they'll just clear out that vision and keep things nice and smooth, as Cloud Soul is going to be up in 40 seconds.
And we're finally seeing PSG default Hanabi back to a side lane. It's been something we've been asking ourselves the past few minutes, like, hey, oh, you're right, Farfetch.
No Hex Slash needed, gonna go straight in there. Oh, flashes straight in for it.
Nossa, eles conseguiram sair, mas o Nar ainda tem... Oh! Mano, dano! Caralho! Tá. Lembra que eu falei da ult? Então, adivinha, a Orianna não conseguiu ultar. Mas aconteceu uma coisa... Aconteceu um acidente com a Tristana aqui, cara. Ah, erraram pro lado. Alma. Alma das nuvens pro PSG. Cara, mas... Mano, o Holy Phoenix tá muito feliz com esse jogo, com essa jogada, na real. Ele pegou um neutralizado imenso na Tristana, meu amigo. Neutralizado de 500, total de 800 de ouro.
We got a ton of flavor in that fight. We got to see Maple playing that aggressive Azir style. And now, you know, they have soul, but they aren't too far ahead in terms of gold. And we've seen that every team fight, they're trading kills back and forth. So still very much anyone's game. And I'd say, again, the creative plays like this for me are what's really keeping it competitive for the Wildcats. Again, a bit unfortunate that they aren't able to find Maple.
Nossa, olha a explosão. Ah, eu entendi o que houve, eu acho. Eu acredito que foi por causa do dano extra da passiva da Leona na estourada. E a Kai'Sa conseguiu pegar uma kill no Doggo que foi excepcional pra ela. Mas o Saren não ter conseguido ultar também foi absurdo. Absurdo, absurdo, absurdo.
Holy Phoenix continuing to find kills, continuing to grab gold. In fact, he's got 3 items finished now, which was a struggle given all the early gold Doggo got when he had 2 items for what felt like forever up against Holy Phoenix. It was farming for his life, trying to pick up his own Phantom Dance, which of course he now has on top of the LDR. So, does feel like the playing field has evened quite a bit. Obviously, this Soul will be a permanent advantage for PSG Talon. There's going to be an Elder Dragon now alongside the Baron. We haven't even had a first Baron in this game yet, and both teams feeling pretty comfy on the Baron DPS front. So pretty delicately balanced, I have to say, especially with how the team fights have been going with all those trades.
And now we're going to see both teams having to default to playing as a 5-man core. Hanabi doesn't have TP, so if he does decide to go bot side, you know,
vale ressaltar uma coisa muito importante. O próximo dragão é Elder daqui a 4 minutos. E Elder Drake na mão de qualquer uma dessas composições pode virar o jogo. A gente já viu nas fights anteriores, nas 2 fights anteriores, gente saindo com 20% da vida, com 15% da vida, e com o dragão ancião isso mudaria completamente de figura.
Look, I don't know if Wildcats are necessarily feeling like they want to get aggressive, but let me tell you, Mathematician Farfetch, he's finding angles all over the place. There is not a flank or an engage that he has disliked so far in this game, and again, I love to see it from the young player.
Starskin tá pegando mega. Não é o momento, não é o momento, não é o momento. Meu Deus. Ah, eles conseguiram? Nossa, bem jogado. Muito bem jogado. Meu Deus do céu, tá. Isso era uma coisa que eu quase esqueci de falar, guys. A PSG, dos times que eu analisei, do grupo do Brasil, ela é facilmente o time com maior capacidade de aprendizado. Literalmente, Na final deles, teve um game que eles tomaram uma quadra kill, uma triple kill de uma Tristana que ficou open. Literalmente, o resto da partida inteira, a Tristana não clicou no jogo. Ela literalmente aparecia, ela começava a luta com a Tristana morta. E aqui você vê, eles já tomaram um Mega Nar na testa 2 vezes. Aí o que aconteceu? Vai embora. Eles entenderam que era pick-off e reposiciona, pick-off e reposiciona. Mas aqui foi um ótimo pick no Seren, não, no Hanabi. E deu ruim, hein? Não? Deu ruim não. Ah, o time não tinha dado B também. What the fuck?
Oh my goodness, Starscream is getting in there and that damage looks a little too filthy. Maple they're going to push it back. Holy Phoenix is on a rampage, but Doggo, he's taking out Starscream. Shockwave is going to catch Maple, but Doggo, he's ready for the resets, baby. Grabs himself a double kill, hopping in for 3 and 4 as Kyrene with the max range, seeing the blade, is going to let Doggo shut down Seren. Please kill that man. Kyrene, you've set it up so well. Give it to Doggo. You know he wants the gold. Maple will do. That's just fine. He's going to grab kill number 2.
Yep, 3 kills on the side of PSG.
Nossa, aquele dive deles foi muito troncho. Eles foram muito pra frente, tomaram muito dano e não conseguiam voltar. E você vê que a PSG, o que mudou principalmente, cara? Cara, o que mudou principalmente foi o Doggo ter mudado de posicionamento. O Doggo entendeu que ele não podia dar dive nos caras. Olha ali. A paciência que o Doggo vai ter nessa luta, olha ali. Pô, beleza. Kywing dando a volta, dando a volta, dando a volta, dando a volta, dando a volta. Dando mais ainda a volta. E olha ali. O Doggo vira cronômetro. Depois de virar cronômetro, ele tem a ult, dá o flash pra trás e espera, ó, pum, agora ele entra, aí ele para de novo. Para garantir que não batessem nele. Foi muito inteligente a jogada dele, foi bem esperto, foi muito boa. E agora ele tá com a GA fechada. Então ele, beleza, ele não tem cronômetro, né? Ele não tem mais aquela... ele não vira mais um cavaleiro de ouro, né? Mas, né?
I love that Doggo is, I think, showing up a lot more in this game. He was given kind of the keys to the VIP, you know, ready to take over this game with the early gold he got Thunder, and he is making it work here.
And I think a big thing for him, again, is the comfort he's getting from PSG as a team. Doggo is the second best AD carry in the PCS. Kino, his support is very similar to Kywing in terms of play style. But I need to stop talking about Doggo because we keep our eyes on him.
Alrighty, Elder Dragon DPS also good here on the Triss side, but Wildcats are here ready to go. It's coming once again, looking for the angle, trying to outmath Farfetch here. Flashing in over the top, looking for Seren here. Is going to be down as well. He's going to take down Farfetch. Got the dragon. This could be bad news on the other side. PSG maybe too far ahead already to take it out, Doggo, but Maple's going to get himself killed by Holy Phoenix. Gets a triple, but he gets shut down.
Nossa, velho, que triste, cara. Roubaram o Elder, mas morreram 4. Caralho. Mas essa daí foi uma maravilhosa. Nossa. Eu acho que a PSG, ela foi muito... Tipo assim, esqueceram que o objetivo era o Elder, sabe?
Do it, Doggo, you won't.
I don't think he should.
Okay, he won't.
You're getting a bit too crazy.
Alright, well, ulti's only halfway cooldown for Seren, so there was potentially opportunities, but I agree with the Elder Dragon buff, and also a stopwatch that Seren has. Probably unlikely. Alright, let's watch this one again. This is a wild trade of back and forth support CC here.
And it looked like PSG were handedly winning out until Ferret get the Elder. I want to keep my eyes on that because again, members going down across and he's just able to smite it. We don't see smite come out.
O Ferret tá na frente de ouro, sabe? De nível.
Opposite end of the fight. We're going to see the members of Wildcats start kiting up and just really nice stopwatch coming out from Holy Phoenix to take down Maple. And again, kills across the board, but still, the fact that Seren has that Elder Drake buff and the fact that PSG don't have it, more importantly, feels like the big thing here.
I love to see the celebration there from the Wildcat side. You can see Holy Phoenix leaning back in the chair. He's like, that could have been the rest of that kill. That could have been the ace that maybe got us back in this game. Unfortunately, goes down at the end of the play. It is just Saren that survives with the buff, as you mentioned. Still has it, by the way, for 50 more seconds.
Importante ressaltar, o buff da Orianna acaba antes do Barão nascer, velho.
Wildcats, and PSG gonna have to be respectful, despite the fact that they're up, 5,000 gold. They've got to Dragon Soul. I don't want to be walking into this level 16 Orianna Elder Dragon empowered ultimate.
No, you definitely do not. So PSG definitely going to respect on this one. They're going to start to send Maple to answer that top wave. Looks like he's being a bit cautious, not walking too far from mid because they know what Wildcats are looking to do. They're looking for the fight. We have tons of items built on both sides. Hanabi trying to throw out the poke. He does have the Serpent's Fang now to deal with some of the shields coming out from Saren. But I think PSG have been a team that's shown they're willing to be patient enough to not look for something too much in this situation.
Especially today. PSG TALON have really felt very measured in how they're approaching this game. It's very clinical, very decisive. But, taking their time, kind of letting their opponents play into them in some ways, which I think against this team actually has played out quite well. This Baron is real nice, though. This is going to get shredded here in PSG. Oh, they did not on it. Oh, they're going back in instead. Farfetch. Oh, I love the play. Unfortunately, can't find the hook. It was only River that he was really in front of him. But again, they're going to go once more, perhaps as the ward does get... or brush does get watered, excuse me, by Kaiwing, as Farfetch is still throwing out anchors.
I mean, I love Farfetch's confidence.
Solar Flare hits one, but only a slow. Followed through here is Starscreen.
Só que a Wildcats está do lado errado do mapa.
There's a hook from Farfetch, but the damage might be a little too much. Doggo's going to be forced to patch away from the Nautilus ulti, and Holy Phoenix is going to be the player to watch the shockwave. Finds two. Holy Phoenix looking for two, but he can't quite get in there. Starscreen going to kick Hanabi away with the ultimate, but now Farfetch re-engages. River is going to be the target, but they can't go get it, and Doggo is absolutely popping off. Maple's got two. Doggo's going unstoppable. It's going to be the ace for PSG TALON. As Holy Phoenix, the only one left, but not for long.
And this game might just end out of nowhere, Pastry. I thought that Saren found the ultimate he needed, but PSG just gonna push through mid lane and target the base of
bonita, só que ela deu hype errado pro time, sabe? Eles já tinham investido muito recurso antes para tentar desengajar da luta, sair, e acabaram não tendo recurso para ganhar a luta depois.
To make into the Rumble stages, PSG TALON are going to take out Wildcats.
And it's great to see from the side of PSG. Actually going to be the first team to get 4 wins in this group, which, again, we thought it would have been primed to be Mad Lions at the start of the day, but nice to see PSG recollect themselves, come in with a strong day. Again, I think they've shown a lot more patience this time around. We've still seen the same
meus amigos, aqui a gente viu assim, eu achei que o Wildcats jogou limpo esse jogo. Mostrou que, assim, que não é um time tão ruim quanto estava nos primeiros dias. Eles evoluíram muito nesse MSI. Se pá, evoluíram mais que a gente. Isso é perigoso pra gente, bem perigoso. Mas agora a gente tem um problema seríssimo, meus amigos. A gente tem um problema seríssimo. E esse problema seríssimo se chama Mad Lions. Se a Mad Lions ganhar do PSG, a gente tá fora. A gente acabou o sonho. Acabou, a gente pode ganhar até... A gente pode ganhar os 2 jogos e nada acontece, sabe? Aí aqui o que acontece, ó. Vamos ver os horários. Próximo jogo é a gente contra a Mad Lions. A gente é obrigado a ganhar esse jogo. Se a gente perder esse jogo, acabou. Acabou o sonho, tá? E se a gente ganhar esse jogo, a gente ainda depende de ganhar mais esse e depender desse resultado. Então agora a PSG ter ganho esse jogo deixou a situação do Brasil muito mais tensa do que estava antes. E velho, pesado, pesado, pesado. Agora vocês vão ver a ult. Vai ser a ult da Orianna agora? Não. É agora, ó. Pum, já teve, só que acabou. E cara, e o Doggo, se você não pega essa Tristana, é assim que uma Tristana joga contra a Kai'Sa, sabe? Você não pode dar dive na cabeça dela direto. Você tem que ser oportunista, você tem que estar de boa, sabe? Senão fudeu. Senão fudeu, e é isso. E guys, o próximo jogo, ele pode ser um ponto de virada, ou pode ser o fim do sonho. Então, eu espero ver coisa nova. Eu espero ver algo bom. E vamos ver, vamos torcer, guys. Então é isso, guys. Muitíssimo obrigado a todos vocês e, como sempre, GG e até logo.